Tuesday. Thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to see where I ended up with the finished 13 by Halloween. I gotta tell you, this month has been a lot of fun. So I finished 13 things in general, not necessarily the original 13 I set out to finish. That's okay, I'm good with it. So I'm gonna catch you up on where I was with the 13 individual items I chose, and then I will film a separate empties video for the other things that I was able to completely eliminate from my collection during the month of October. So like I said, it was a really big treat for me to be able to get through this stuff. So overall, I did finish about 9 things from my original items, and the rest of them I'm okay with where I ended up. I will continue working on them as we get into the new year, but kind of need to take a break from them. So let's go on and get into the items. All right, the first thing I really wanted to finish with the 13 by Halloween challenge was this Mario Badescu facial spray with the rose water and aloe. I am very impressed with this particular facial spray. You can find it for $7 at Ulta. It is so worth the time and the money. The way that I get through this kind of as quickly as I do is before I apply my makeup, I go on and spritz a few times, let it settle into my skin before I apply any primers, any CC creams, foundations, whatever I'm going to use for my face products. And then when I'm completely finished with my makeup, I go on and spritz my face again, kind of fan it into my skin just to take away any type of powdery finish if I might have been a little too heavy-handed with my blush or powder or things like that. It does a beautiful job. The next thing that I really wanted to finish as far as the 13 by Halloween, because I was not a fan of this particular product, it is the Maybelline Master Prime Primer in the Blur Plus Illuminate formula. As you can see, I did use it all the way down to the very last drop. The reason I didn't love this is because of the smell. It did perform as promised. I kind of had the feeling it was like Benefit's High Beam in the liquid form, because the way I like to use that highlighter is I like to put a couple drops in, mix it in with my foundation. That way you get that kind of lit from within glow, and then you can go on and do the rest of your makeup, and it just kind of gives you an ethereal look to your foundation. This did brighten my skin tone. I wouldn't say it blurred my pores as much as I would have hoped, but the smell of this was like heavily fragranced conditioner. I was not a fan of it. I will not repurchase this just because I just felt like it gave me a massive headache. And even if I would use a tiny drop in my hands and then rub it around and apply it to my face, it was just so overpowering that I was like, I couldn't wait for it to be done. And now that it's done, I'm never ever going to incorporate that again into my collection. The next 2 things I really wanted to get through were 2 particular foundations from my collection. The first was when I really wanted light days. I didn't want to have a whole lot of coverage on my face. I would pull out this It Cosmetics CC Plus Illumination Cream. This is fantastic as far as gives you enough coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy on your face. I don't like to wear primers or any kind of moisturizers or things under this particular CC cream because it tends to make it very greasy. It slides all over my face, so I'm not as pleased with the results. So if I only wanted to have that Mario Badescu Rose Water Facial Spray and then apply this on top, I was always very happy with it, and then I would set it with my setting powder. I absolutely adored this product. I will repurchase it, especially as we get into, it doesn't really get cooler in Houston, but you know, as far as summer makeup goes, this is gonna be a staple. And in fact, when I finish my last foundation out of my backup stash, I want to go on and purchase the It Cosmetics just normal CC cream to see if I like it as well as this particular formula. Then if I wanted a fuller coverage day, because I was, you know, dealing with the Maybelline primer, I went on and pulled out one of the backup bottles I had of the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation. I wear the shade Creamy Natural. This is Holy Grail foundation for me. I love that it's drugstore price. I've been through so many bottles of this, it's a little ridiculous, but it's a foundation that works so well for me. I don't have to wear an additional concealer with it. If I have an extra blemish, all I do is apply a little bit, you know, more foundation onto my beauty blender and I'm good to go. So I noticed when I would wear this primer, my foundation would separate a little bit on top of my nose. And this primer also made the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte foundation that comes in the little black tube as well. It made it separate on my nose as well because I wanted to see if it was just the primer or if it was my foundations doing it too. But definitely happened with both of those. So just kind of a tip if you're looking to try this or you're looking to, you know, change up your primers under your foundation, that is something to consider. Setting powder. The next thing I was able to finish, this product made me fall in love with translucent powders. I was panning the NARS Translucent Crystal Setting Powder. This was absolutely beautiful. It's completely changed my opinion on translucent setting powders. I don't want to go back to skin tone powders because then you have to worry about shade matching and you've got to worry about that mask on your neck and then you've got to worry about cakeiness, and it's just, I don't have time for that. Like, this certainly lived up to the challenge. I'm currently trying out the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder. I am just as impressed, but I think I like the loose version a little bit better. So this is definitely going to be a repurchase for me in the future if you've never. Next, I was working on several eye bases. The first thing that I was able to finish for the 13 by Halloween challenge was the sample from Laura Mercier, the Caviar Stick in the shade of Moonlight. This was so good. I scraped out what I could. I really loved this shade, and if you're working with tough shades from Lorac that tend to look a little bit chalky black on your eyes, I'm talking shades like Deep Purple from your Pro palette, or if you're using Deep Teal, Indigo from your Mega Pro palette, or even if you're using Jade from your Pro 2, those shadows can come off very, very dark, almost black with like the shimmer of the color they're supposed to be. At least that's how it has kind of been for me in my experience. This really helped to tone that down. In fact, I'm looking forward to repurchasing this next year. I have it in my collection. It definitely helps some of those troublesome shades really come off true to color. And also too, this was a great standalone product on my lid as it is. I didn't have problems with it creasing as long as I set it with a shadow. If I wear it on its own with my hooded lids, it can kind of be a hot mess, but you know how that goes. That's hooded eye problems in general. I did work on the Laura Mercier sample Caviar Stick in Rose Gold. I wasn't as pleased with it, so I put it up and I pulled out this old Buxom Cream shadow in the shade Poodle. I was working on this as I panned my Lorac Mega Pro palette. This shade, I felt like I was gonna hit pan for months and months and months. Like, I'm down at the bottom, but it just never stops. Like, I don't know. And I actually had to downsize the shade I had in Golden Retriever because it's just so dry that every time I open up the container, it just falls out and it's a hot mess. So I want to use as much of this as I can before it's just completely dried out, but I think we might be near the end of its life. At least I can say I got to the bottom. So that's kind of where I was with eyeshadow bases. Let's get into the shadows. All right, my eyeshadow is where I was really able to make some big changes to my collection. I've been very focused on using Lorac shadows because, you know, as I continued to pan my Lorac Pro palette, I wanted to see how much of my other Lorac shades I could get through, and also too to kind of keep the variety going so that I don't get bored with my palette. So one of my goals as I went through the 13 by Halloween challenge was to finish my Lorac Pro Espresso. As you can see, I did accomplish that. And one of my other goals was to finish an additional shade from this palette. I blew that goal out of the water because during the month of October, I was able to finish Mauve. Once I started using it as a blush, I was also able to finish off Garnet. I used it as an eyeshadow in my outer third of my eye. I also used it as a blush. I enjoyed it. It helped me really blow through that shadow. I finished Gold, I finished Light Bronze, and I also finished Sable. That was another one that I really loved, especially wearing it with Light Bronze in particular. And then I was able to make it through some of Pewter. So that's kind of where I am. Sneak peek at my palette before I do an update in about 2 weeks. So that's where I currently am. And then I also wanted to go through my Mega Pro palette and kind of knock out some shades there. As far as the Mega Pro palette, I wanted to have my goal of finishing cream. I did beyond that. And then as far as what I was able to get through, like I said, when it comes to Lorac shadows, I can start to finish shades from these palettes in about 6 to 8 weeks. So one of the shades I was currently kind of working on in October was a dupe for taupe. I mixed camel and fawn here, made a lot of progress in that. I also wanted to go through and use a dupe for light bronze, and so I've got a dip going with sand and copper here. You mix these two together, they give you a pretty close dupe. I also hit pan and brown right there. And like I said, this is just within a month time. I'm basically using e.l.f. brushes for the majority of my makeup application. The crease brush that I used kind of with this brown shade was a very small tapered MUA brush. You can find it at CVS. And then a flat brush from Bare Minerals, kind of like the, I can't remember the exact MAC brush name now. It's whatever the smaller flat brush is that you can use for all over work on your eye. Not the 217, I know that's the fluffier brush, but actually I'll just go on and do it now. I want to say I added MAC's Russian Red the end of August. I think I worked on it for a solid month and a half, 2 months. I don't remember. But I went on and added it in. This is kind of where I started with MAC Russian Red, this line right here. And as of today, I have made quite a bit of progress because as you can see, I ended up right there. So I'm very, very pleased with this. I have so many tubes of red lipstick. But one of the things I love about this Project Pan Challenge is I've really enjoyed panning this to the point that I think that I want to just go on and stick with a matte red lip from now on instead of trying to go with some of the creamier finishes, because I've noticed that I'm needing more lip liners now because I'm seeing some of the fine lines and feathering, and that really kind of bugs me because when I would take my creamier red lipsticks to touch up during the day, they just didn't compare to this. So as far as matte reds, I think I'm going to go on and keep my MAC Damn Glamorous, MAC Russian Red, and I think I have 2 matte reds from Revlon. I think I'm going to go on and downsize the other creamy finishes. So just kind of FYI, I'm going to be doing decluttering videos as well, but it's really kind of interesting to see how you feel about things as you project pan. I know I certainly have learned a lot about myself over, you know, different areas and realizing how I like products working together and sort of things. So that was a pretty big observation I noticed about that lipstick. The first one, I was kind of surprised that I didn't finish it, but at the same time, I'm still shocked at how much I was able to get through. I've been using the NYX eyeliner slash eyebrow pencil in the shade dark brown. This is what I have left, but when you look at where I started back in July when I began this challenge for myself, I've made a ton of progress, because here's where I started. As you can see, this was the top line for that NYX dark brown pencil, and now I'm all the way down here. So I couldn't be happier with the progress on this. I do love this eyeliner. I only have to sharpen it about every 2 to 3 times of using it. So I'm gonna finish it off, and then I have one more dark brown, one of the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour retractable pencils. I'm gonna go on and get through that, and then I think I'm gonna go on and buy the Stila eyeliner in Damsel, because by far that has been my favorite brown liner of all time that I've ever used. And then this eyeliner, I was also painting the NYX Wonder Pencil. I didn't expect to finish this because the only thing I use it for is to line my waterline. So it's gonna take eons to get through. But as far as this pencil goes, I did make quite a bit of progress. I am impressed with this. But the only reason I really have to sharpen it is because I'm worried about like the, you know, what is the word? Not sanitation, hypo. You know what I mean? I'm worried about it like causing eye infections. I can't think of what the word is right now, but here's where I started as far as that NYX Wonder Pencil. Here's where I ended up. So like I said, I'm still impressed with where I am. I'm gonna continue working on it. No big deal. So, you know, really happy to get to where I am with those eyeliners. I've been very impressed with it as I panned it. That is the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. You know, honestly, it's not gonna look like I made that much progress in the center because I had the center of the pan showing when I started this whole process, but I can see the difference. Like the sides are going down. I was using this to contour. Now I'm taking an angled brush from Bare Minerals and really using it as an all-over bronzer because my new kind of favorite go-to is to use the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in dim light as a very subtle contour. So it's gonna take me quite a bit longer to get through this now that I'm just using it as an all-over bronzer, but I like it. I'm gonna continue using it. I do look forward to using my backup from the Benefit Cheeky Sweet Spot tin that came out last Christmas. So this is an outstanding product if you want a subtle, kind of cool tone bronzer. It's not really, you know, overtly obvious on your face. And then the last two kind of cheek products, well, one, I really wanted to finish the Maybelline Dream Bouncy blush in the shade Hot Tamale. This blush lingers. I mean, it just, I can feel the bottom of the pan. I know it's there, but it just hangs around. You know, fortunately, I like it enough. I've really fallen in love with the kind of orange blush look, especially when I wear light bronze with the brown and a really warm brown in my transition area, and then a really, really red lip like Max Russian Red. But this is just, it's hanging on forever, and I made the mistake that I loved this so much when I first bought it that I went and bought myself a backup. I'm done doing that, seriously, you know, but even though this is not done, what I am impressed with in this process is I was also accompanying it with the MAC MSF and Stereo Rose. I've actually started making a dip in the round dome, I guess, of this powder. So that's really what I wanted to do because this powder does not have great pigmentation on its own on my skin. I really kind of do have to use it as a blush topper. So it works out that they pair really well together. Like I said, I wished I would have finished this, but oh well. I'm gonna put it away for a while, bring it back out in the new year. But this, I'm very happy to see the change in this particular formula. Because you know, when you spend the money on MAC products, it always feels really good to start seeing that visible change in those. So that's it. Those are my 13 items, kind of where I ended up. I feel really good about this challenge because I was able to have so much momentum. Thank you for taking the time to sit down and watch this today. I wish you all the best in your project pan journeys. Be on the lookout. I'm going to go on and post an empties video and kind of do a broken up version of the decluttering that I've done because I've really taken a hard look at my makeup collection and gotten rid of a lot of things. And so we're going to start breaking those down. And then as far as seasonal challenges, that's about it for now. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.